Hey, good morning. It is time for coffee talk. It is Sunday, and I have my coffee, my French roast this morning. Very nice. That was a very natural sip of the coffee. So I've been practicing that for the last 15 minutes. last 15 minutes. No, I have not been practicing that the last 15 minutes. I have been searching diligently on the internet, on the interwebs, on the worldwide interweb to get you all the information of World of Tanks from the last week. What do we have? Channel news, missions and specials, subjects du jour as usual. So lots of things going on. Let's get started. All right, first things first, you can see that I've got Monty D. Manticore right there, right? So I've named the tank. That's where we are with the British tanks. He's got a big grin. He's grinning for you, saying hello. That, that particular decal is pretty hilarious, so I had to have that as soon as I saw that that was possible and where it was put on the turret. Do you like his purple eyeliner? That's okay in the military these days in the States, so we're all good. Purple eyeliner is fine. Channel news. My reviews for the Brit 7 through 9 are out, so if you're interested in the setter, the LHMTB, or the GSOR, then check those out on the YouTube page. That's the place. GFLC, Guido's Flying Circus. I started a clan. Kind of a work in progress. The exact direction of which I don't have exactly. I just sort of winged it, created the thing, and some of you guys have joined. Feel free. A couple ground rules with this thing. Number one, there's no requirement as far as stats go for joining. There's a requirement for not being a jerk, I guess. So it will be immediately apparent if you're doing something that is not good. So I'm not going to make a bunch of rules or anything like that. It just should be apparent to everybody. You know, you kind of hate saying that, but at least I'm laying out the ground rules right at the beginning, right? That being said, what's the purpose? Are we going to be casual? Are we going to be competitive? That's entirely up to everyone who joins, whatever they want to do. My idea, at least initially, is to be a place for everybody to get together and help each other, much like the channel. But I'm going to start a Discord server. I just haven't got to that yet. I have a couple things I've got to do before I get that sorted out. So there will be a Discord channel for people to hang out and talk, ask me questions, do all that kind of thing. So just more an extension of this community from the YouTube channel over to an actual clan in the game. If somebody wants to do some competitive stuff, start that up, that's fine. But again, the clan is not going to be mandatory this, mandatory that, mandatory that. And if you don't want that, that's cool. And you want, even if you've joined and you decide, it's a little too casual, I want to go do some serious stuff, all good as well. If you want to leave because you're going to go to another clan and do clan wars and get reward tanks, also good. So my point here is no harm, no foul. Come and go as you please. Doesn't bother me in the slightest. If you want to come over and help guys as well, a couple of good players, a couple of the guys that have sent me really good replays have joined. So if you want to help me do that as well, as far as helping the little community here, that's all cool. So I'm just trying to make sure that everyone understands it's at the moment casual towards learning. It can go where the members want it to go, but if you need to move on, it's not going to hurt my feelings. Not at all. Not at all. All right. So if that was about as nebulous as possible, I think it was, then I think I got my point across with this clan. I probably should have just named it the Flying Circus because I thought about it a couple days later. I think that's pretty self-indulgent calling it Guido's Flying Circus, but whatever. The next stream on Monday the 11th, which is Wednesday. I might stream later today, but it is yard day today, so I don't know if I'll get to it because I'm going to be out pushing a mower in. I woke up this morning and my windows were all what's the word? It's got misted up or whatever. That's not the word, but you know what I'm saying. Well, there's water on them, which comes from the air. Condensation. There's condensation on my windows, which means, because they're new windows, which means it is extremely condensation-y out there. Humid. It is extremely humid, and that's going to suck for the mowing thing. It really is, because it's been kind of nice. It's been hot, but it hasn't been humid, and then this morning the humidity rolled back in, and it's going to be absolutely brutal out there. So Hopefully I don't fall down in a pool of my own sweat and die from a heart attack out there, so we'll see. Should you kid about that? I don't even know if you should kid about that. At our age, we probably shouldn't kid about stuff like that. But you know what? Whatever. Guido Grind, if you want to... I almost hesitated to put that back out because we do have an issue with... We'll talk about that later. That actually reminds me of another subject I want to talk about. We do have an issue with people making throwaway accounts with invite codes in tier 5 tanks and going straight into tier 5 battles, sinking in or not, going in platoons and jacking around with each other or jacking around with their team via physics abuse. So we'll get to that. That's a bad one. All right, that is channel news, I believe. So let's move on to missions and specials. Let's get our shill on. Okay, let's take a look at it. We're getting into the sales and see what's going on. Remember that the festival fair, which is the advent calendar for the summer, although it's kind of leaning towards the fall here. It seems like we're going to be in Christmas here in just a couple months. And no kidding, I went to a store yesterday and we had Christmas trees up. And that was a month ago, I think, at Lowe's. There's Christmas trees. It's crazy, man. What happened to Halloween? I don't even like Halloween, but Halloween is just disappearing. It's going to be Christmas from September to the end, with a little bit of scary Christmas. It'll be scary. It's going to be scary Christmas in October, and it's going to be, fall leaf Christmas in November, and then it's going to be Christmas. Although at my house, now that we're on a tangent, at my house, Christmas goes up in October and doesn't come down sometimes till April. My wife is the Christmas lady. I'm going to be that old guy. He's going to be 89, 90. Provided I live that long. Reference the mowing earlier. I'm going to be that guy sitting on that couch with the plastic on the couch. And they're going to be interviewing me about the Christmas lady, and the entire house is going to be Christmas 24/7. There's going to be lights blinking in the background. I'm going to sit there, there's always the spouse, the put upon spouse. You've got the crazy Christmas lady or the train guy or whatever the hobby is that's gone to a complete ridiculous level. And there's always the spouse in the background. And they always kind of ask them, well, when was it that you realized that your wife became the Christmas lady? And they just sit there. That is going to be me. I am going to say, well, it was back in about 2000 when Christmas lasted till April the first time. Oh, man. All right. Speaking of Christmas, buy some stuff. How about that? Did you like that segue? Don't buy stuff unless you can. Let's talk about this, though, because it is very, very interesting, some of the pricing that's going on. This is one of those things that you see on these heavily discounted stores where everything's a discount, where you can't figure out what the conventions are, and on the one hand you get a really good deal, on another hand it looks like a good deal but it's an awful deal, and it's just a constant maelstrom of deals coming at you, and you never really know what the actual price of something. This is where we are with all these discounts and coupons, and it's getting a little bit silly, and I got a couple of great examples for you. Number one, 50 TP Mega Pack. This is the festival fare. The Mega Pack, normal price is $211. So I went, wow, there must be some stuff in there. What do we get for $211? Now, granted, it's discounted at $125, but this is what I'm talking about the discount shenanigans that are going on. I'm looking at this and I go, all right, so if I didn't get a discount and supposedly this is worth $211, what do I get for that? Well, I get a tank. Let's call it 50. Let's go crazy and call it 55. What else do I get? 10,000 gold. I just priced it. It's about 43 bucks. So now we are at 100, say. We're just going to round. 30 days of premium is about 11 bucks right now with a special. Let's call it 15 just for giggles, 115. And those are the kind of hard priced things. Now we got credits. I don't know what 10 million credits is worth. Let's go really dumb and call it 50. That's $200 or $165. And then a couple other things thrown in. This does not equal $211. There's not $211 worth of, electronic goods here, fellas. There just really isn't. So this number it's fake news, basically. I don't understand it. Now, $125, is that okay? Okay, well, $50 tank, $43 in gold, and another $11 in premium, and some extra stuff, it's sort of getting to a kind of a deal. Because if you click purchase and you put your coupon, I happen to have a 20%er, it goes down to 100. So now we're starting to get a deal. I am now purchasing an amount of electronic goods for a little less than I would otherwise. As opposed to at 211, I'm paying way too much. But we have to go through all these discount shenanigans to get here. This one is actually a pretty good deal, to be honest, and to be fair with Wargaming. This one is at 67. I can click on it and I can get this bad boy down to 54, which is the price of a lot of the Tier 8 premium tanks. This heavy tanks typically. This is a Tier 8 premium heavy tank. That's about what it costs anyway, a little bit more I think, but you're getting 5,000 gold in 30 days of premium and then the cats and dogs. Notice there's no credits on this one. I think they're overpricing their credits by way too much. I've said this in the past, and that's my opinion on that. So I wanted to throw that out because it was interesting. Now let's, because this is great. I saw that, I dug that out a little. I went and I did some of the research, I got some of the numbers for it, and I said, okay, that's not a great deal. It's okay. This is actually a pretty good deal for a Tier 8. There you go. So good on them. They gave a good deal. So I was looking around and I went, okay, looked at other stuff. I looked at their Steel Hunter camos. By the way, fellas, these are not good. I mean, this is low effort. I said it last week. I don't, what? Why am I buying this camo? It's bad. You have a lot of good camos. You do. That one is not one of them. Oh, man. Terrible. Anyway, that's my opinion on that. Let's see if we can get back here. So then I got to the Tiger 131. And I had been digging around for a while, and I saw, oh, war chest. And then I thought, I should look at the numbers on the 131. What do you get for your $69? I clicked on that, and I went, what do I get for $69? Remember, I'm gonna pay less than that for a prototype, 30 days, 5,000 gold, and some other goodies, right? Well, this one's $69, and this is a Tier 6 heavy, folks. And you get the 5,000 gold, but you don't get the 30 days. This is a terrible deal. I mean, this is an amazingly bad deal, actually. The gold's $23. Look at this. It's the credits, I guess, that they are overpricing by miles and miles. That's not even a Tier 10 tank, for goodness sake. Those are 66,100,000 something. That's amazing. That is an awful, terrible deal. Come on, Wargaming. Like, I love you guys. I do. I feel like I always have to put that caveat out there when I'm burning them now. But they know that. I mean, I enjoy the game. But I got to call, I can't use that term. I'm going to call what do you say now? A diamond a diamond? Is that how? I can't say the other word anymore. It's not nice. But I got to call it like it is. There you go. Calling it like it is. Here's that deal where it's 30 days and a tank, so you don't get the tank stuff. This, that's the war chest. Where is the 1357? It's not on here. Let's go to the tanks, because while I'm thinking about it. This 1357 deal is actually good. Like I said, I will give them credit where credit is due. This is a great tank. I think it's down, it's buried down here. Here it is. $14. $14 for a 1357. There's no discount on that for your coupons because it's a exclusive. Remember, we figured that out. Exclusive means you can't use the discount. But actually, $15 for a really, really good, frankly overpowered Tier 7 light tank. That's a good deal. I didn't realize this, but the 62 out too, and it's down to 1678. Personally, the 1357 is better, but I like the Type 62. This is not always sold, so I'm a little bit surprised it's in there. I would take advantage of that if you were thinking about the 62. And there's a couple, well, I was going to say there's more stuff with it, but it's a crew, a garage slot, and the missions. So good deal right there. The T34 is actually on sale. Surprised me a little bit. You don't see it a lot. It's just 15% off, but I think it's not couponable. It's but $44 for a T34, which is a solid Tier 8 American premium. Some other cats and dogs Tier 8s, the Rack's on sale, the Sturv's on sale. All of these three are good. I enjoy all of these. As a matter of fact, for case-make TDs, the Sturv and the Canon and Jagdpanzer 105 are two of my favorite at Tier 8 for case-make TDs. Interesting gameplay with the Sturv. Fast, great gun. This is one of the only German tanks with the great German gun that actually feels like that to me. Pretty good. I think that's everything on there. Nothing really going on gold-wise to talk about. And here's what's interesting is, you can't just get 30 days. You got to get the deal, which it's still a decent deal, $11 for all this stuff. And that's it, fellas, for the numbers. I just thought some of those packages were a little bit weird. It would be nice if they standardized them somehow, but I guess the real point of all that is, if you're going to get your wallet out and your credit card, make sure you dig around a bit. Go to each one of those and look at what you're buying. Jump over to the gold page, put the amount of gold in there, figure out what that value is, add it all up in your brain, and then make your own decision as to what it's worth. We don't have any real good ways to know what they consider the equipment and the silver to be worth. I've seen people break it down, but that's only by taking the overall cost, taking out the items that we know the cost are for, and then sort of figuring out what they think the silver credits are for. Because as far as I know, you can't just go any amount of silver credits. If I were them, I'd have another one that did that. And any amount of silver credits. Here's the price. But that does not exist. All right, let's move on. We are going over to the UI and talk about the missions. Actually, forgot I did want to talk about one other thing, and I haven't looked at this yet. I just had the thought a little while ago. The festival fair is by region, and each region, at least EU and NA, have different tanks at different days. But as we get towards the end, I'm wondering if really the list is the same, just the order is changed. So you might be able to look at the other regions and see what they've had show up, and if one of the tanks you want is there, then I think there's a pretty good possibility that tank's coming, unless it's a completely different list for each region. So I think they just mixed and matched which ones they did, which order they did them in, but I don't know. I just wanted to throw that out in case you were looking for a specific tank. There's been some good ones, but none of the ones that I want. There's only a couple left anyway that I don't have, the Chrysler K being one of the big ones. So we'll see if it works out that way, but I just wanted to throw that out for you guys. All right, there's Monty. Let's take another nice look at him. He's grinning at everybody. We'll get to the reason why he's grinning in just a minute. Missions. All right, what do we got going on? We got Steel Hunter. That goes on till the 16th, so you have 8 days to get yourself to tier 25 or rank 25 or whatever they're calling it. I haven't bothered. I don't know. Maybe I'll give it a shot this week. Who knows? Play your tank class right. Probably not, though. Remember, that's a code. You've got to put the codes in. You've got to put it in for light, medium, heavy, and TDs. Otherwise, you don't get these missions. Those codes are out there. They're good till 1 October. These are a great help for grinding because you get experience bonuses. Tank Festival. These are the dog tag things. You can see I've done my weekend deal, complete 2 conditions in each battle, and we are complete. I got my 30 tickets. I'm halfway through the dog tags, and I haven't really been aiming at those. I think when I stream, I do a pretty good job on those days because you guys request all different tiers, but it is a tiering thing as far as during the week. But for right now, for this weekend, it's just these 2 vehicles destroyed. You do that twice and you get 30 tickets. So hooray for that. Scavenger hunt is ongoing. I will have another 2 days for mine. I actually had a really good response to the first day, and that was actually one of my highest viewed videos. It got close to 1,000 views, which was pretty cool. That was the face-off one. I thought was really interesting with me and Pirani. 2 different views, 2 different teams, 2 very different results, which I attributed a lot to the attitude of the 2 teams. And so check that video out if you haven't seen it. I thought it was pretty good. I'll pat myself on the back with that one. So we still have the shenanigans with trying to figure out scavenger hunt. I think everyone knows how it works because we've done it twice. This is the 3rd iteration, maybe the 4th, I think the 3rd. But it doesn't... UI guy, come on, man. We've been working together. We've been trying here. This is silly. You still have to click on the card so that you find out how many you've completed. All right. Why can't I find out how many I've completed right here? You put some words. That's the mission. Just put it over here. Completed 6. I don't want to click on the card. I shouldn't have to click on the card. Just to get general information. Same thing for this one. How many codes have I redeemed? I don't know. I still don't know. Now I know. 3 clicks. 3. 4 counting going in. Actually, let's find out how many. I'm in the garage. I have to do 1. Fair enough. That makes sense. 2. Okay. I should be done. I should now know where I stand. 3. 2, 3, 4. 5. Bruh. Come on, man. That's bad. That is bad UI design. I don't care who you are. It is. Anyway, I've done 6 of 31 that I have redeemed. So remember, these are how many I've completed. And again, the order is goofy, right? So I have to redeem them first. That's this card. And then I have to do the mission. That's on the left side. That makes no sense. Put this one over here. How many have I redeemed? That's top left. That's how many codes I put in. 6 of 31. Got it. How many have I actually finished? That should be the second card. I've done 6 of, I don't know, it doesn't matter. That it does matter. That I don't. You can see that I've done over 5. I think it's 6. Well, 6 is over 5. Is that right? Math in public, 6 is more than 5. Yes, it is indeed more than 5. I have collected 5, and I got these goodies. These are all great prizes. Remember, folks, when you get to the 30th and the 31st, not redeemed, not put in, okay, not code put into the little code thing over on the website, but when you actually do the mission. So, for example, you have done 29 of the missions. This number here says 29. Play the tank you want the 10,000 experience to go on. Okay? And actually, you may have to play it twice because I don't remember what happens. I think the first time you do it, you get this stuff. Remember how confusing this is? And I believe the second time you play it, you get this. So pay attention down here, which is underneath my nugget, but you know what I'm talking about, where you see what happened. Play it once for the 30th redemption and look at it and go, did I get my 10,000 on it? And if you didn't, play it again. Same tank. Get your 10,000. And the same thing, rinse and repeat for 31. I don't remember, somebody fix me down there, whether you get this and this on the 30th game that you played or the 30th time you have redeemed it. I don't remember exactly. But anyway, there you go. It shouldn't be that hard, but it is. 1.5 weekend is going on. Remember, you had to put a code in. Put your code in or you weren't getting your 1.5 XP weekend. Hotel is still happening. How long is this going to go? Oh, till the 26th. So actually for a while. So that goes all the way back to, I think, August's Twitch Prime care package. Other missions, this is where, and I didn't mention it earlier, but Alienware is doing a combined mission thing with Wargaming, and you have to be in the top 10 in experience and win, and it will count how many times you've done that since they started. I don't know how long it goes. Does it even say? Yes, till the 15th. All right, till the 15th of September. The person with the most wins. There's 5 prizes, so the top 5 get some kind of Alienware thing. We'll get to that in a minute. Man, premium missions are premium missions. All right, I think that is it for the missions. Let's find out here. Yeah, let's talk about the Alienware thing. So for the Alienware thing, it was top 10 and a win. And look at the leader. He's at 171 wins in the top 10. I don't know when it started it. You got to put the remember, you got to put the code in to even start the thing. There's a gaming monitor, keyboard, mouse, some other things. Coupons. And I don't see oh, here it is. It started on the 6th. So we are 2 days into it. Started on the 6th in the morning. 7, 8. So what, 48 hours into it. There's your code thing that you want to put in. 48 hours into it, and we have 171 points for that guy. 171 games. Wins in the top 10. That's wins. I mean, I don't know what's going on here, folks. You can maybe guess. You can maybe guess. So 171. We're going to do some math here. Let's say he won 60%. We're gonna give him the benefit of the doubt. So what's half's math in public? Let's just add another. So it's not going to be 2 times. It's going to be less than. Let's just add another 100 battles to it. Let's say he's really doing well. Just for pure battles that he fought. So there's another 100 battles that were lost. As soon as I get my calculator working. So plus 100 battles that were losses that didn't count. That's 271 games in 48 hours. So 271 divided by 48 equals 5.64. 5.64 an hour, 5 games an hour. That's pretty fast. So we won't break it down further into minutes and all that stuff. But anyway, that's a lot. That's quite a bit, actually. So I don't know anyone know what's going on there? Who knows? Second guy's all the way down to 101, then 95. We'll see. It'll be interesting. Remember last time this happened was for not this happened. Last time we had a contest like this. I don't know what's happening. Maybe he's just a very committed 48-hour straight player. But last time we had a contest where the number of wins or games or whatever it was the Intel chip. And the top several guys got disqualified because they were hot seating or botting or doing, I don't know what they were doing. Something illegal. Are the rules? There's probably rules here somewhere. Yeah, there's the rules. No purchase necessary. Blah, blah, blah. How to enter. Yep. Claiming a prize. This is all boilerplate. Permissions. Grant of rights. Waiver. There's no game rules. So tampering. Doing sponsored. What? Any attempt to deliberately damage sponsor's website or sponsor's game. Oh, as in trying to win by hacking the website and put your name in there? Okay. Void entry submission. I don't see anything about actually anything in there. Maybe it's there about hot seating or how it has to be done. That's probably under the actual overall World of Tanks game rules. But I don't know. This comes up every once in a while, and then we get this kind of thing where you look at the numbers and go, wow, that is one dedicated dude. Is it? Dedicated, perhaps. One guy? I don't know. All right, so a little bit of news from around the World of Tanks landscape, as it were. 1.6.1 is coming up. So as you can see, it's a 161, so it's a small update of 1.6. It's on Common Test. Kind of an interesting thing, actually, here. This is cool, and it's not something I'd heard of. Didn't even know they were thinking about it, but here it is. Multinational vehicles. So the Rudy, the captured King Tiger, I assume things like HT number 6 with the Japanese, the Lurza or Loza's Sherman, tanks that are from one country that are driven by another country in the game. The T-25 premium tank that the Germans have, that's actually a Czech tank. There's a lot of them interspersed amongst quite a few of them. Are they all premiums? They might be. As I think about it, they might all be premiums. I don't know if there's any that are in tech trees. Maybe like Valentine's or something at the low end, but I think they're all premiums. I'd have to dig around. That's a good question. However, the point of it is they're going to be used by either nation, which means you can change their nation basically at will. So for example, the Rudy crew, you can use a Polish crew in it or you can use a Soviet crew in it. You just change its nation, put your new crew in it, use that equipment, use those, and really equipment's probably standard across the nations, but things like food or whatever may be specific to that nation. They're going to start out with the Rudy, which is why I mentioned it. T-34-85 will be the first one. Excuse me. The Polish version will have a crew of 4 unique Polish tank. What the heck? Switch the Polish version. and the German Shepherd. Players who have this premium vehicle in the garage will receive the Polish crew as a gift. Oh. What? This feature will allow players to complete missions that have national restrictions upon changing the vehicle's nation. It becomes possible to use crew's equipment and consumables. Players' configuration of the vehicle for another nation can be saved. Okay. And the operation of switching between is free. Oh, that's cool. So you save what you want. You don't have to do a whole bunch of rigmarole. All right, good idea. Its nation can be switched between Soviet Union and Poland in the case of the Rudy. The Polish version will have a crew of 4 unique Polish tankers. Oh, I see. Because right now it's only Soviet. When they do this, they're going to give you a Polish crew with brothers in arms. Well, you better buy your Rudy, man. That's cool. Well, there you go. And a German Shepherd. Does it bark still? I don't think it barks still. Is that back? I don't remember. It used to. Right at the beginning, you could click on Shavik or Skavik or whatever that thing's name is. That thing. the puppy dog. Changes to rank battles. Rank battles is coming back. That is good. One must wonder, what happened to our opportunity to get bonds? I don't know if that was actually the Steel Hunter for NA. Did we get bonds and other people didn't get bonds as prizes? I don't know what the pricing was for Steel Hunter in EU or RU, so I'm not sure whatever happened to that. Remember, we were told we could get whatever the prizes were for the last ranked battles, we would be given opportunities to get them. I haven't seen that specifically said, hey, ranked battles is your opportunity to get these things. I thought there were tanks involved too last time, so I'm not really sure whatever happened to that. To be fair, we've been promised things that never actually came true. So don't hold your breath. All right. So ranked battles is coming back. People will be happy about that. They're going to change it just a little bit so it works with our... So hopefully it works with our lower server population. We will see. There's some extra styles, and they're going to put the Kampfpanzer 50T, a tier 9 premium or gift or something. I'm not sure which. And then the UK is going to have a tier 8 premium. It's basically a baby tortoise called the Turtle. It looks a lot like a tortoise, but a tier 8 premium. As I understand it, it will be a tier 8 premium TD. This one actually I read is kind of interesting. What I read and heard, actually I think I saw a video on it, it said it will train both heavy and medium crews. So this one perked my ears because what they said is this tank, at least in terms of the game, is like a prototype main battle tank. And I went, oh, interesting. So we've always talked about how we're not going to have MBTs. We're not going past 70. It's kind of nebulous which year in the 70s they decide they don't want to go past. But this one was probably, a 60s development or whatever. And my understanding is you can put both medium and heavy crews in it. Interesting. Can you mix and match them? That's my next question on that one. All right, so I got all this off of, I think this is Harkonnen's. Yeah, this is Harkonnen's The Daily Bounce, which is a good plug for Harkonnen. That is a good blog for getting essay and information from World of Tanks. In fact, he'll sometimes have leaks and things that I won't have. If you want to get it from the horse's mouth, there's part of the horse. There's part of his mouth. All right. So here's a little interesting thing I found while digging around on the Armored Patrol. And it is World of Tanks VR, available September 13th. And I went, oh, that's cool. I have a VR rig, but actually not so much. Via its arcades. So Synthesis VR will be giving the game a global rollout via its arcades. I have no idea who or where its arcades are. I'd have to look it up, but that's not the point. If you have one of those around you, go check it out. But look, I saw the picture immediately. I went, oh, geez, here we go. So that's the controller thing. I don't know if I have a controller. I'm sure you guys have seen these things. I do have one back here somewhere. There. So the controllers, at least for the Oculus, look like this. And you hold it in your hand, and you got another one in your other hand, and that's what you're seeing when you've got the headset on. You can see those two controllers. And then different things you do with your thumbs and fingers. There's different buttons on it. There's a button there. There's a trigger button there. Lots of different things for making your hand grab stuff or pull triggers or press down, stuff like that. So that's basically what's going on there with those two hands out in front of you if you've never done the VR thing. And since this is an arcade thing, it's going to be a big setup. Now, what their controller looks like in their arcade, I have no idea if they're using Oculus or something else. But we'll look at the video here for just a second. Preliminaries. Oh yes, we have some nice VR stuff. Tanks blowing up. Oh boy. Oh jeez. All right, so you get the picture. I read the article. It's basically talking about the viewpoint is you're standing or sitting on top of the tank, and you're kind of driving it like an RC tank. I don't know. I bet it's a lot of fun in an arcade with a bunch of friends, but it's not. It doesn't appear to be, at least from the article and what I'm looking at right there, the brief look I had at the video. It doesn't appear to be taking World of Tanks and putting a VR aspect to it to where it plays like World of Tanks plays, but from a VR viewpoint, which I think is what all of us World of Tanks fans are really looking for. And it's also not something for the home PC. It's in their Synthesis VR. It is in their big arcades. We'll see where it goes. Maybe it's a prototype. Maybe it's a iterative process, the first iteration, something that's released. Wargaming does have the 3D virtual reality thing that they do when they go out. I saw that at D-Day Conneaut. You've seen pictures of it as well, I'm sure, or even seen it yourself at some of their events. You take a tablet or a phone. I don't know if they can do it via phone, but I know they do it. They have a tablet, and you can look through the tablet at a basically blank tabletop, and it's got all the 3D stuff there, and it's pretty cool. So there's lots of possibilities with VR. We'll see where it goes. This is a step, but it is not VR porting into your World of Tanks client so that you can sit at home and play World of Tanks via VR, which I think would be pretty cool. Not happening yet. All right, the British Light Tank Saga. The British Light Tank Saga is good. It's good comedy. It is. This is going to be kind of a tie-in with the forum post of the week, which is going to be my post talking about I think it was the GSOR, the Tier 9. But I have posted my reviews, and they have all got kind of the same reaction. The GSOR one went on for a while, and I thought it was a very interesting discussion with everybody because it kind of gets into the question of what's a good tank, what's a bad tank, what's an average tank, and what are the reasons. Without going one side or the other on the GSOR, it's just more esoteric, larger questions on what makes a good tank, what makes a bad tank. Just as an example, if you look at it and you say the T95 Chieftain is a good tank, and then you can counter that argument a little bit with it's a good tank played by very good players, so it overperforms. Is it really a good tank? Well, I think we can look at it and objectively say it's both. It's a good tank played by overpowered players, and so it's completely ridiculously overpowered. The Object 907 is the same. I did a video on it. Played that thing a couple times. It is ridiculously overpowered. These prize tanks some of these price tanks for the Clan War stuff are overpowered. All you have to do is look at which ones are selected and which ones get played the most, and it happens to be those are two of the most selected and most played. Why? Because they're good. The Panzer 7 thing, I can't remember what it's called. The Clan Wars prize version of the Panzer 7 is one of them as well, although it's fairly limited because it's situational much more than a Chieftain or a 907 is. So those are on the one end where it's very good players and a very good tank. Then one of the counters, because I've come back on these tanks, on these Brit tanks, and I've said, look at my stats. I'm doing as well, if not better, than any other light tank at tier. And the counter has been, well, Guido, you're a good player. You're going to make any tank look good. Okay, to some extent, good players will make any tank look good. But then you have to look at it in the relative context. How are my other tier 8s, tier 7s? It's as good or better. So you would think that if it was a bad tank, I would make it work, but not as well or better than other tanks that are good. Nobody thinks the 1357 is bad, but my tier 7 does better than my 1357 win rate wise. Spotting wise, not quite in the damage side, which makes sense. because of the relative DPG differences in the two. Sample sizes are low, so I will say that right off the bat. This is wildlife.com. It's mostly EU server statistics. And one thing I can't determine here, it says last updated, so and these numbers, the battle numbers are relatively low. I don't know if these are a day, an hour. I suspect they're probably a day maybe. So updated for each day, and I don't. This may be a case of where each of them have to actually physically update their stuff or tell that website to track it. I don't know if it drags this off the API. So there's a lot of questions about this data, but it's the only thing I've been able to find so far, and it really kind of shows that these things seem to be doing okay. This is the worst one, the GSR setter. He's not top by any means, right? But it isn't the bottom. And I've tracked this for 3 days, and these three are pretty consistently down here at the bottom. And the setter is doing okay, not great. But if we switch over to the tier 8, we look at the LHMTV is near the top. Now I've racked and stacked it by win rate, but by win 8, it's actually number 1. All right. This sample size, this group of people, 51 games, all those caveats have got to be acknowledged because this is statistics, but I'm trying to get a general big picture of, are these things terrible? And my point is they are not. They're not terrible, and a couple of them are good. We get to the 9. This one surprised me because I actually don't do very well in this one, but this one's right up there. Is it number 1 on the win 8? It surely is, and doing okay in the win rate. And then we get to the tier 10. Holy cow, it's number 2 win rate. Where is it on win 8? It drops down quite a bit, down to 13. But this speaks to what I'm talking about with these tanks. They're not really win 8 masters, although light tanks overperform a little bit in win 8 anyway, based on the way it's done. If you can do a lot of damage in a light tank because its expected value is so low, you can crank out a good win 8 if you're a good player. It speaks to their ability to win games because if you can last towards the end, their stealth and size and mobility turns them into exponentially better tanks. As a combat multiplier, late game, these things are absolutely wicked. Getting lights, finding the final campers, and helping you when there are many fewer guns on the map, helping you win games, if not get a lot of damage. This has been the knock against them because people have, for years now, everything has been DPG, how much damage can you do? And as a general rule, that is absolutely true, and it's a big part of how you win. But what's been lost is facilitating damage, and however it is done, usually indicated objectively by assist, spotting, and tracking damage done or helped, or however you want to look at it. But subjectively shown as map control, where the tank can go, what parts of the map it can lock down, where it can figure out enemies are not without being seen, and being able to survive. These are some of those intangible things these tanks can do better than other light tanks. One of the knocks again against them is they don't do anything other light tanks can't do. Well, that's hogwash. They're very good at being sneaky. They're better than other tanks at being sneaky. The only tank that's probably slightly better than them is the ELC even 90 because it's even smaller and has even better camo, but that's a premium. So it's been very interesting. Going back to the players and who plays it, the other thing, and this is in my, you can check it out, this thread, Guido's GSOR review thread, and I put some of the numbers. This was from a day before, and the numbers were similar, as were the placings. What's been sent back to me from a lot of players is, well, Guido, you like I said earlier, you can make anything look good. So it's not the tank. The tank's still bad. You're just a good player. I'm like, okay, well, I will accept that to some extent because we do admit that with some of the prize tanks, they do well because good players play them. That just makes sense. That's just a fact. But my argument against all of it right now is that, and I've said this over and over, they're just not as bad as people are saying they are. And it's funny to watch people absolutely plant the flag in the sand and refuse to budge because they've been told that they're terrible. They've looked at the stats and they look at it and they go, well, they have bad stats. Actually, that's not really true. If you really look at the stats, they're right in the middle of nearly everything. The only thing you can hang your hat on that's bad is the DPM and to some extent the traverse, and that's it. Everything else is somewhere in the middle, if not some of the highest. It's like any tank. It's here and there, all over the place. But they actually excel at penetration. That's one of the big things, and they have great camo. Sometimes not the best, but right at the top. So it's hogwash to say that their stats are the worst in the game. They simply are not. That's just a lie. That's not true. The DPM are clearly some of the worst at tier for each tier in light tank. That's just a number. The rest of the numbers are right there, other than traverse. I mean, I don't know how you make that clearer and what they're looking at, to be quite honest, because I can pull it up, I can rack and stack each tank at tier, and it really boils down to their DPM's terrible. That's it. That is the entirety of the argument. Their DPM is terrible, and their traverse is a little bad. And that's it, folks. The entire argument that they are bad, the entire argument is the DPM is bad. That's it. That's the whole thing. With some traverse thrown in for seasoning, and then you throw in some reload time to season that as well. Now we will see where the actual numbers. I'm still waiting to get a no kidding large sample size number from the server stats and to start looking at these things and see where they rack and stack. Maybe they all show up at the bottom. I don't know. The initial indications tell me no. Anecdotally, talking to you guys and other players and some very good players as well, they've played them and went, yeah, they're fine. I mean, I can do pretty well in them. I've heard things like they're not carry machines. Again, a reference doing lots of damage carry machine, not carry machine as in I can set the conditions for a win in more subjective ways with this tank than I can in a lot of other tanks. A couple other arguments that make me laugh. You can, if you run this, you're hurting your team because you're running this. Well, if you run a scout, you're probably sometimes hurting your team. Say you're on Himmelsdorf, but it's going to match you with another scout, so you're not really hurting your team. You're just matched with another scout, as an example. So I just throw that out for you guys. Have a thought. Let me know what you think. I know a lot of you don't like these things. Some of you do like these things. I've got a couple great replays from you guys on these. It's an ongoing saga, and it speaks to, I talked about it last week, and I've talked about it a lot on World of Tanks. You know, developers trying to develop things for specific roles often is a bad idea and doesn't work, but I got to give them credit. I think they hit the nail on the head with these things. And I've heard the developers talk about it a couple times, that, hey, it's the size. You don't understand the size of these things. And it plays into, we'll eventually get to this. You guys have asked me several times when I'm going to do my video on wheeled tanks. When I said that, I was really mad about it. I wanted to cool off. I wanted to think about it objectively and get back to you with something. I said screed. It's going to be something like that, but it's not going to be over the top. So I wanted to, come at it with a clear mind. And this Brit Light thing is helping me to clear my mind on it, to be quite honest, because it, just to foreshadow a little bit, it speaks to closed systems and outliers. Outliers within closed systems and how they operate within a closed system and what the advantages or disadvantages of outliers are, and balance in games like this, where you give something a characteristic that is so far out of the norm that it makes it very good despite its other shortcomings. And that one characteristic, because it is such a large outlier in your closed system, that the other characteristics cease to matter nearly as much, and it makes the vehicle or the item or whatever it is much better than it otherwise would have been. The wheeled tanks characteristic is the speed, and they have multiple. They have more than the Brit Light tanks, and that's why I kind of like that the Brit Light tanks came out, and I was able to sort of look at this in a more objective way. The Brit Light tanks have a couple things, and it makes them very good in certain situations. The wheeled tanks have multiple things and have made them overpowered in a lot of situations. So the auto aim plus that no one else gets, that is otherwise so maybe I'm going to get into it a little bit, but we'll do a whole video later. But the auto aim plus that is considered an unfair advantage in every other tank. Remember, that was a mod that they declared illegal and then gave it to wheeled tanks. No one else. That's a joke. So maybe this is a screen. That's a complete joke. That is an absolute joke. So that thing, the speed is an outlier. I am convinced more and more that the game engine and design of the game cannot handle the speed. They're too fast. If you look at the Brit light tanks, it's kind of like making them half the size of an ELC even 90. If they were that tiny, they'd be absolute killers because they would get everywhere. You'd never be able to hit them. Well, in the case of the wheeled tanks, it's not necessarily the size, it's just the absolute speed. The game engine can't handle the speed. This is causing a lot of the misses. It's causing the auto aim, instead of centroiding, tracking the rear of the tank. It doesn't keep up with the center of the tank right now. You'll notice that if it's a lot of line of sight, right or left, it's trailing him. It's not actually centroiding. A slower tank, it doesn't have too much trouble keeping it right at the center. So that speed, they haven't updated the game engine or the programming to move that centroid forward, and so they're a real bear to hit with auto aim, which is one thing that, especially for older gamers or people who have a little bit of trouble with their hands, they're going to have a lot of trouble with these things left to right. You see it; they get missed. Shots just coming from every direction. Then you add the ridiculous bounces, going off the weird angles, going off the tires eating them, whatever it is that's doing this. I think it's multiple things. The game engine doesn't seem to be able to handle that very well, because the amount of times these things get hit for no damage is ridiculous. They're already in amongst you. They're raging around. They're hard to hit anyway, just from a physical, I'm aiming at you with my mouse standpoint. And then you manage to lay a hit on them, and it's some kind of crazy bounce, or the wheels eat it. And then the counter is, then it slows down. Not nearly enough. Tracking as a game mechanic in this game is so fundamentally integral, as in I hit this area and I slow that tank down to where we can now manage it. If I have a dangerous mouse, one of the tactics is I track it so we can get around it, so it can't maneuver its armor to us. That is so fundamentally integral to the system of this game that they've built, to the development of this game, that they've now introduced this super fast tank with this laser accurate gun, with this what used to be a cheating auto aim mod that now they get, and when they get hit, there's no way to slow them down. If they take 3 or 4 in a row in the wheels, they'll get slow, but often it's 1 or 2 and they go from 80 to 60 which means they can get to cover and do all that. So anyway, that's my talk. I know we were talking about the Brit light tanks, but it sort of segued into talking about systems and outliers and how they affect your game. Anyway, let me know what you think down below. We'll eventually get to an actual video, but I think even just talking that out loud with you guys helped me sort of clarify my thoughts on that. All right, let's move on. That was a good tangent. Well, that's it. I guess I will do a tactics question of the week. I had one in my mind. Went a little long on that. We'll just talk about it because I'm going to make it really quick and really simple. I am going to help you if you're around a 50% or lower player, 50% or lower player, win rate player. I'm going to help you increase your win rate by 2 to 3% with a very simple plan. And the very simple plan is this: when you win your flank, and the other flank has lost, or your cap is anywhere near being challenged or threatened, turn around, go back to cap. Or at the very least, go to the other flank and help them win. Why? When you win your flank and the other flank has lost and you push into their cap, you are bringing their campers into the game. They would otherwise not be playing. You are now fighting their whole team. What's left of your team and your campers are fighting their aggressive guys who wanted the other flank, and you've decided to bring in all the campers into the game. Let those guns sit. They're going to sit. Or at the very least, let them sit a little while longer and before they realize they need to move forward and help. Turn your butt around, go back to cap or go to the other flank and help them win. And then together with the hit points and tanks you've preserved from the other flank, or your cap if they actually killed your other flank, then you guys together can go deal with their campers. Their pushers are the aggressive tanks. Engage their aggressive pushers first, however it happens, whether it's on the flank you went to or you win your flank and you go over to the other flank and help, then worry about pushing the cap. That, I guarantee you, will increase your win rate 2 to 3%. If you simply, as a robot, win your flank, other flank threatened, cap threatened, turn around, go back, without any other analysis of what's going on. I guarantee that will improve your win rate. Now, if you're already at 55% or better, somewhere between 50 and 55, definitely 55 and better, you're already probably doing this, and now it's a little bit more nuanced on the decision making. And for you guys that aren't there, you'll get there. But you've got to learn that kind of mechanical motion, the large muscle movement. You've got to learn that before you start worrying about the fine motor skills of the rest of the analysis. As just one example, things like I win my cap, the other cap loses wholesale. The only way we're going to win this, because we lost so many tanks on the other cap, because we're way losing situation, is to somehow jump 3 on and fast cap. That's just one example of why you would not turn around, but that's more of an analysis of whether we can actually get back and do any good, and are we already close to the cap, and I'm counting noses, and I don't feel like there's much at their cap anyway, so we can get this done. That's just one example, and you know, people will counter my saying go back to cap with the little small examples like that. So I just throw that out as just one example to think about. That's where you'll eventually get. But the great big muscle movement by rote, I won my flank, the other flank loses, or my caps threaten, go back, that will improve your win rate 2 to 3%. I absolutely guarantee it. All right, guys, thanks for tuning in. I appreciate it. That is it for Coffee Talk. I'm about halfway through this. I've got to edit this bad boy and get it out to you, and then I have to go mow the lawn. I'm not happy about. I'm dreading that. I'm looking out there, and it's just. It's one of those days in the Panhandle of Florida, late summer, where you look out onto the horizon, and it's like you're in a fog. It is so hazy and muggy, and so you got to get your knife out and cut some air and chew on it when you when you head outside. Oh man, I'm just going to complain about this for a while. All right, that's all I've got. Take it easy, guys. Thanks for tuning in. We got Miserable Monday tomorrow. Remember, I will stream on Wednesday. I'm planning 9 to 12. I might get a stream in later today. If it is, it'll be the standard pop-up. Thanks for coming by. I do appreciate it. We will see you.